and okay, let me sort of cover a few of them. In 1954, when I first met Meher Baba, I was 30 and very serious. When I heard of Baba 7 years prior to that, and I immediately accepted the fact that, to me it's a fact that, okay, God, there's one God. There's not many, there's just the one God, and that one God manifests from time to time. He was Jesus, he was Muhammad, and now he's Meher Baba. I said, fine, well that settles that. And so I was concerned with absorbing as much as I possibly could of the discourses that he'd given, the messages he'd given, and you could say that I tackled the question of getting closer to God-man by knowing thoroughly what he has said, understanding it intellectually. I didn't put it intellectually, I just, all I could think of, what I thought of was, this was the foundation. Okay, I meet Meher Baba, and the first thing that of course I took notepads and pencils, and I copied down religiously everything that Baba said, and I was very serious. If the few shots you'll see of me in the film that Lud Dimphor took, you'll see I'm being very serious, and so and then perhaps it was heightened, or perhaps Baba decided to do something about me by, after a certain time, I was sitting on my bed in the seclusion cabin. Baba had put the Australians into the seclusion cabin rather than the top floor of the retreat in Upper Mariband. And Lud was sitting on the other bed, Francis's bed, and we were talking about Baba, and Lud was saying, well, of course, you know, in the end, all that really matters is love for him, love for Baba. And I said, oh, yeah, well, that's important. But what's really important is a firm foundation in the knowledge of the discourses. Somehow, perhaps Baba heard this, and so he decided to. He was so kind. He one in the middle of the discourse that was being held in the museum room, the museum room and that was the room. It was a sort of a lounge, you could say, with Baba sitting on a comfortable chair, and we had a row of chairs in an arc in front of him, 10, 12 feet away. Maybe not even that, 6, 8 feet, not that far, and Baba suddenly stopped the discourse in the middle of it and pointed towards myself and the other young Australian, John Ballantyne, who was very new to Baba, hadn't read very much, and Baba said, these two lads have a love for truth, and he directed that we were to sit in the samadhi, in the tomb, as it was called then, at midnight for 7 nights, half an hour, and we were to sit still, not move, have our eyes open, and inwardly take his name. So I said, yes, Baba. And the fact that Baba said that at the end of 7 nights you may get a glimpse of God didn't mean anything to me. And by that time, as far as I was concerned, all I wanted to do was follow him. I I lost all interest which, quite frankly, I never did really have any interest in spiritual experiences. I certainly, if I had any, I lost them then. I wasn't interested in, I realised, God realisation, I don't know anything about that, but I liked the look of Meher Baba, and I liked his strength of purpose. I liked the loving kindness that was always present there. I thought, I just want to be in your presence, and do whatever you asked me to do, and that was the case with the tomb. Baba said, do that, I did it, and so okay, the first night we there's no electricity in Meherabad in those days. There was no, there were no dogs, no animals, there were no people wandering around. It was absolutely, and no electricity, I mean no lights. It was a deserted area, absolutely quiet. And so we go at midnight, and we go in, and I don't know where John sat. I've never been aware of where he sat. All I know is that I went in and sat on the right side of the crypt, with my legs down in it, in the crypt, and I sat like this, and all of a sudden the door is shut, the windows are shut, and it's absolutely pitch black. Not only is it pitch black and absolutely no chink of light, but no sound. There is nothing whatever. And you could say I froze inside. I didn't move. I had my eyes open, but the impact of that, of the atmosphere of the tomb, and the conditions were such that I was not able to take his name. Nothing happened inside. It was, yeah, I laugh now. But that had quite an impact. Quite an impact. And the next morning, when Baba asked, did we do it? We said yes. And what did you experience? And I was not able. I was very inarticulate in those days. I couldn't talk as I'm talking now. It's so strange when you think that Baba, every time I was with him, he emphasised with increasing pressure and detail of how I was to spread his message, talk about, you know, in every way, and yet at the time, and for many years, I wasn't able to speak as I am now in front of a group. Individually, yes, one-to-one was different. Anyway, I wasn't able to say anything. I stumbled a bit. And Baba gave a lovely message, which I took in, that I didn't realise then. One of those things. Fear means no love. And ending